Okay, so for a lot of you, this may well be your favourite poem. Checking out my history. I'm not going to read it for you. It is far more beneficial for you to listen to John Agard do that, rather than me embarrass myself. Really important thing to know about John Agard is where he's from, Guyana, because he is talking about the value and importance of his culture and his identity. And what's really important to him, even though he lives in Britain, is to hold on to his past, his history. That reveals something about himself, who he is. Opening section is really useful to use. Dem tell me, what dem want to tell me. And so we have here use of anaphora or repetition. Alright, so anaphora, repeated lines at the start. Dem tell me, what dem want to tell me. The repetition here is really important because it is focused on the repetitive message that he keeps getting in education, in life, about white history. Alright, he is surrounded by this white history rather than his own cultural identity. And there's a real division between them and me, which is notable, or should I say, dem and me. Obviously, you do need to talk about the fact that he is using the language of his culture as well. So not only is he talking about his history, he's embracing the language of his culture in this poem. He doesn't always write like this. There's some poems that are written in what we got in the standard English, but this one, it's a deliberate choice to embrace his identity through both history and language. It's really nice metaphors here. Bandage up my eye with my own history, blind me to my own identity, because we've got very violent images here which suggest the kind of pain and suffering which being kept from his own identity brings. Bandage up my eye with my own history obviously is a metaphor. You can't literally bandage someone's eye with history, and he is not actually blind, of course. Alright, so these metaphors here almost imply it's a deliberate act to keep black history hidden from him. That's certainly how he feels. He's enforced and surrounded by white history, and his own history is being kept back. Now, throughout the poem, you'll notice that it's in two different styles. We have a section that's in italics, and that is used when he's exploring his own history. And it's a completely different voice here. It's much more poetic, much more serious. He's writing in a kind of more Creole style. Okay, again, that's the kind of language of Guyana that's used. And so it's much more traditional and authentic voice. Whereas this section, I'm sure you remember from listening to it, is much more kind of mocking in its tone. Dem tell me about the man who discovered the balloon and the cow who jumped over the moon. Dem tell me about the dish ran away with the spoon. But dem never tell me about Nanny the Maroon. And it's particularly, this is probably the best example to use, because what is really highlighting here is the juxtaposition between the ridiculous things that we learn about, the kind of nursery rhymes. So we learn about craziness, this little dish running away with a spoon, and yet not something so significant to his culture and identity. Okay, so really highlighting by references to kind of Dick Whittington, dish running away with a spoon, the ridiculous nature of what we are taught when something so significant and important, these people are missed from our history. But when he comes to talk about his own history, we've got a repeated image of light coming through. So we've got Toussaint, the beacon. We've got image here of firewoman. And then a particularly useful one in the exam, I'm making you all fuzzy, is a healing star among the wounded, a a yellow sunrise to the dying, and a beautiful language here in compared to our old King Cole, really highlighting the significance and value of his history to him. And this light imagery, do apologise, me and technology do not mix well. Alright, this light imagery that is used here is all about hope. So you notice lots of poets use light imagery. They sometimes can mean different things. But in here, the healing star among the wounded, a yellow sunrise to the dying. Mary Seacole, who is referring to there, is a beacon of hope, much like Toussaint described as a beacon, that she brought joy and life and hope to those around us. So that beautiful image is used, and we've got a parallel structure. Alright, a healing star amongst the wounded, a yellow sunrise to the dying. That parallelism, if I can write just a second. Okay, is used to exaggerate her worth. So it's a pretty straightforward poem, but again there's some lovely language. We're only talking about the structure of this one. A real juxtaposition in the voice and how he describes our history, the kind of mocking dismissiveness of it, with the beautiful Creole style language that he uses to describe his own history. And this is the only point where he uses these kind of metaphors and light imagery to show the importance of value of his own life and his own background and heritage. And really, really good one for comparing to Emigre or to Kamikaze. Both of those are about the importance of identity.